So, presence. We hear that word thrown around all the time, right? Especially if you're a coach or a leader. But what does it actually mean? Is it just some vague, feel-good idea, or is it a real, tangible skill? Well, today, we're going to get into it. We're going to explore the science and the art of presence, and how learning to master it can literally change everything in your coaching.
To really get this, I want you to think about two very different conversations. I guarantee you've experienced both. We're going to put them side by side, because feeling the difference is key.
Okay, first, picture the distracted conversation. You're talking to someone, and they're kind of glancing at their phone, or maybe looking over your shoulder. I mean, how did that actually feel? My guess is you didn't feel safe enough to share anything real or vulnerable. Now, compare that to a time you felt someone was 100% with you, attentive, listening not just to what you said, but to what was behind the words. Which of those two scenarios do you think allows for real growth?
And that feeling, that huge difference, that's the power of presence we're talking about. Neurobiologist Daniel Siegel calls it making someone feel felt. And that's not just a nice little phrase, it's a biological trigger. That feeling of being seen can actually help a person's brain build new pathways and rewire those old patterns they're stuck in.
So we know what presence feels like, but what is it really? Let's try to pin it down and get a clearer picture of this absolutely essential coaching skill.
You know, the source material had this fantastic analogy for it. Trying to define presence is like trying to describe a rich, decadent, flourless chocolate cake. You can list the ingredients, cocoa, eggs, butter, but that list tells you absolutely nothing about the incredible experience of that first bite. Words are a good start, but the real understanding, that comes from the experience itself. Dan Siegel boils it down to something so simple, but so profound. Being open now to whatever is. It's just that. It's about letting go of the need to fix or judge or steer the moment. It's a state of pure open awareness.
And then Linda Graham takes it a step further, describing what that feels like on the inside. She calls it a space of no chatter. It's that quiet place you get to when your own inner critic, your secret agenda for how this session should go, and all your usual judgments finally take a back seat.
Okay, so this brings us to a really practical definition for us as coaches. Presence isn't about being an empty, passive wall. It's the exact opposite. It's about bringing your entire self, your emotions, your gut feelings, your reactions, into the room, but with total conscious awareness. The goal is to use all of that to serve what's happening for the client, not what's happening for you. It's a very active, very engaged way of being.
Okay, let's break this down even more. If we're going to cultivate presence, what are we actually aiming for? What are the specific qualities we need to be focusing on?
It really comes down to these 5 core qualities. First up, emotional availability. That means you're open to your own feelings, not just operating from your head. Next, being here and now. That's the constant practice of bringing your attention back to this moment, not last week's session. Third, and this one is huge, is to hold them whole. This is the bedrock belief that your client isn't broken. They are whole and have the resources they need. Then you've got non-defensiveness, so you can hear anything without it triggering your own stuff. And finally, attune and resonate. That's the delicate dance of really sensing their world while staying grounded in your own.
This all sounds amazing, right? But let's be real. It is hard. Our minds are designed to wander. So what are the things that are constantly pulling us out of presence, especially when we're sitting right across from a client?
The source calls these 2 wormholes, and wow, is that the perfect word for them. With transference, you stop seeing the person in front of you. Instead, they suddenly become your demanding boss or your younger sibling, and you react accordingly. With projection, you see something in them that you can't stand in yourself. Maybe it's neediness or arrogance, and it hooks you. Both of these just yank you right out of the present moment.
And then sometimes the roadblock isn't just a thought pattern. It's a full-on neurological alarm bell going off in your brain. This is what we call an emotional or amygdala hijack. It's like a neural tripwire that gets activated when your brain even thinks there's a threat.
As Dan Goleman puts it here, our emotional brain, the amygdala, can literally hijack the whole system. It just takes over, shutting down the rational, thinking part of our brain. Our ability to be a thoughtful, present coach goes completely offline.
And this all happens in a flash. First, your brain senses a threat. And remember, it doesn't have to be a real one. Instantly, the amygdala hijacks control of the system. And before you even know what's happening, your rational mind, the very part you need for coaching, is knocked out. You're just left in pure reaction mode.
Beyond those big hijacks, there are also these sneaky cognitive distortions. These are thought patterns that just aren't based in reality.
Things like catastrophizing, where one slightly off comment from a client means you're a terrible coach, or shoulding all over yourself. These thoughts feel so real, but they're traps that pull us right out of the room.
But maybe the biggest barrier of them all is simply a lack of trust. When we as coaches don't trust the process, when we feel like we have to force an insight or give the perfect advice or fix the client, we are no longer present. We're running our own agenda, and that's the opposite of being open to what's actually trying to emerge for them.
So, after going through all those things that get in the way, let's circle back. Why is cultivating presence so worth the effort? Because its power to create genuine, lasting change is just profound.
And get this, there's real science here. This isn't just about making a client feel good. The deep sense of safety created by a coach's presence actually activates a client's neuroplasticity. That's their brain's ability to forge new connections. Your focused, caring attention literally creates the biological conditions for them to change their own mind. This really gets to the heart of it. When a client truly feels felt, when they are seen and heard and understood without any judgment, one of our most fundamental human needs is met. That feeling of safety and connection is the fertile ground where all real transformation begins. Which brings us to this incredibly powerful final thought. You can have all the best tools and techniques in your coaching toolbox, but if you strip everything else away, presence alone is enough. Simply being fully, attentively, and caringly present with another human being has the power to change their life. So we're left with this question. Knowing its power and understanding the challenges, we can see that presence isn't a state we achieve once. It's a choice we make, over and over, from one moment to the next. The only question is, how will you choose to be present?